All right, welcome to the Road to Rich podcast. This is Aaron Rich. I'm your host today, and I am super excited. We have a really, really incredible guest today. And our guest is a four-time nominated Grammy singer and platinum selling singer and songwriter. Our guest is none other than Jamie O'Neal. And Jamie, can't wait to talk to you today. This is fantastic, and I am so excited to dig into you and the things that you have going on in your career and your life. So thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be on and to be talking with you this morning.
Yeah, thank you. So, on this podcast, we deal a lot with the business of things, and we do a great deal on the podcast talking about the challenges of things like first steps. And looking back at the early days in your career, was there a specific moment or a specific person in particular that gave you the confidence to believe that you could have such an incredible career that you've had?
You know, I started singing when I was 8 on stage, and I feel like if I ever get asked that question, there's so many people that pop into my mind, but my first thought is my parents, because my
Mm,
parents were performers as well, but they always made me feel like anything was possible, and that they always made me feel like I had a gift from God, and that whatever I wanted to do, I could make happen. Like, if you can dream it, you can do it. If you can believe in yourself, and like, there was just no question. It wasn't, well, you might want to think about college. I mean, education was never a thought. It was just like, sing, 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 and the show
yeah.
must go on. And I think that's also because my parents wanted to make it so much as well. It was just like the whole family, my grandparents, everybody was entrenched in the music business. So there wasn't any thought of doing anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you performed in a family band when you were young, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 8, and McAllen, Texas was the first place that I performed. And from, then we played all the fairs and festivals all over the states, like the Minnesota State Fair, the Michigan State Fair, so as a kid, I mean, that's the dream. Like, play a show, go on the rides, eat a corn dog, play another show. And then other times we did get to open for Dolly Parton and Crystal Gale and some of the really big artists, country artists. We were the openers for them. So
hmm
I really got to see it all, and I really got to, um, I was able to stand side of stage and watch what those artists did, how they did their shows, and how professional they were, and how amazing the crowd connection was. And I just soaked it all in. I just loved it, and I never wanted to do anything else.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I'm sure seeing your family do that and learning so much about the profession at a young age has left a blueprint on you for things that you do now. And we'll talk a little bit about your daughter in a little bit too. And then she's in the career now too. So that family connection is really something that as I've found out more about you, really resonated in that story too. So wanted to ask you, There Is No Arizona was originally released in 2000 and became a number one hit and has really powerfully connected with people. Can you talk about how that song has changed the course of your career and what it's meant to you through the years? And you're right up on the 25th anniversary of that now.
Yes, I can't believe it's 25 years. It seems like, at the same time as it seems like a lifetime ago, it also seems like a minute,
hmm
I just, I do think when we wrote that song, my co-writers, Shay Smith and Lisa Drew and myself, it took us probably 2 or 3 writing sessions to finish it, but we felt like we had something special. I mean, I don't normally go, like, sit around at home and listen to my demos or listen to work tapes and over again. But it's like, after we wrote it, I couldn't get enough of that song. Like, I was so
Yeah.
excited about it. I was playing it for all my other co-writes. And the funny thing is, it does have a little bit of like scatting and jazziness to it. And it's got some soul, and it's got the harmonica. I mean, it has many different elements. And that scared some people, because, like, some of my co-writers would say, well, that's pretty artsy. That's not really a commercial first single.
hmm
And I remember thinking, I don't know what it's going to do. I just know that my instinct is, this is what I want people to hear me for the first time.
Yeah.
Because even though I was in country music and I was in a family act, I also had influences like Earth, Wind, and Fire and Aretha Franklin, and I had sung a lot of different styles. I mean, I consider
Mm.
myself able to sing many different styles if I want to. I just gravitate more to country music, and a lot of my melodies are. I'm definitely a melody writer, but I feel like that song for me was what I wanted to make my first statement with. And so many people in Nashville, there's that formula, like a third person story song isn't as successful as a first person, and you should be saying
Mm.
I, and so a lot of people were giving me that kind of advice. And I just was so glad that my producer, Keith Stegall, believed in the song and wanted that to be the first single, because as he was the vice president at my label, he had a lot of say. And there was no question which the first single was going to be, um, or what the first single was going to be. And I was just so glad, because it would have been really hard if they had said, yeah, let's do something safer.
Yeah, it's been an incredible song that's just resonated with people through the years. And as you come up on that 25th anniversary, you're re-releasing that song with Keith again, right? Keith's working with you again on re-releasing that song.
Keith is not, and I just think of him as such a busy guy. I didn't even think about approaching him. I probably should have, because I'd love to work with him again. He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
No, it's a different version. It's got more of a bluegrass type of organic feel to it, a
very
little bit
cool.
different. And yeah, so I'm interested for everyone to hear it. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. That'll be great. And you also have several new singles coming out this fall, and then you have a new EP as part of that'll be coming out. So, what can
I
fans
have a full
expect on the new
album.
project?
It's got the new album is very country for me, but it does have a couple of more pop country songs, but it's got some traditional to it. I mean, there's fiddle on there, there's steel, there's every instrument that I love.
Oh, awesome. Well, can't wait to hear that and when that comes
Yeah.
out, and we'll certainly let our folks that follow the podcast know about it when it comes out as well. So very cool. So we
Cool.
we
Thank you.
So we talked just a few minutes ago about your family roots in music, and now you have the next generation, your daughter that sings with you. And my understanding, she sings backup with you, and is a talented songwriter herself. What's it like sharing the stage in the studio with your daughter?
Those are my favorite times. I mean, she does her own gigs. She plays down on Broadway. She does ride arounds, and she comes out sometimes and opens my show or sings backgrounds, like we just did the Opry together, and we got to sing Somebody's Hero as a duet. And that was her first time singing at the Opry, so that was really special for both of us. I think it takes the show and the performance to another level for me, because I love having her there. I love the fact that she loves it.
Yeah,
She grew up singing with us on stage. She came out when she was about 3 years old, and she just took to it like immediately. She wanted to be a
yeah,
permanent part. And then, she got into those years of maybe around 15, where she kind of, her social plans or her things that she wanted to do were more important than going on the road with mom, or missing out on a friend's birthday party or something like that. And so there were a few years there where she took kind of a sabbatical from being out with us and stayed behind because she wanted to be with her friends.
yeah,
But now she's really entrenched. She's at Belmont, and she's studying music business, and she's really entrenched in the whole music scene here in Nashville, and she just soaks it up. She does ride arounds, like I said. She's always playing her own things, and she's always writing. She writes a lot by herself. So anything that she can do musically now, she does it. She's gonna, jump in the car and go play in Indianapolis this weekend. Um, and obviously we're gonna be in Florida, so and they love it. But to me, when you have it and it's like a passion like this, it's like everybody calls it a therapy session when you go into a writing room, but just having that to lean on, I just think music is amazing. It's an amazing gift, and
yeah.
that we're really lucky to get to do.
No, that's incredible. One thing I've always loved about music, and I'm sure as you writing music have, experienced this too, is the things that you think about when you write that song versus what it means to the different people out there. It means something different depending on their interpretation and their feelings about that and their personal connection. Has that, been something that you've seen
Oh,
and really love through what you do?
yeah, I think, when you're young and you've got stars in your eyes about making it in music, you don't think to yourself, how is it going to feel when they're singing your song back to you? That was a surprise to me when that started happening. And when you see people, out there singing along, it's just the best gift. That's a big connector,
Hmm.
relate their own lives to something that you're writing about or going through. Is just that extra, you know, amazing gift that you get if you get a chance of, that they hear your music. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard now with the way streaming is and everything. People have such a choice um, of breaking through and, wondering if when you go and play, people are going to know your song. I mean,
Hmm.
radio is still so important.
And that kind of leads me to a question I want to ask you about too. So as you've gone through your journey with your musical career, and your daughter's going through a different journey in a different generation, do you see different things that are affecting her career versus your career with the way you started versus the way she's starting hers?
Oh, for sure. I mean, growing up in the business in one way, I mean, it was a little bit different than her because, she was on a bus with me. And so and I was playing bigger venues than I played when I was a kid. Um, but still, she's seen the ups and downs. She's seen the pitfalls and some of the hard times that you go through and the disappointments or she tends to be more of a type A. So when something doesn't go according to plan, it's it messes with her a lot more than it does me because I'm obviously a lot older and I've grown up in the business. So we have to kind of fly by the seat of our pants. She's more regimented and she doesn't do as well when the rug gets pulled out. You know what I mean? And so in this business, you have to develop a thick skin. You have to be
Hmm.
strong. You have to get through. It's not something that you can count on. That's why I say nobody knows who's going to make it. They have no idea. They get behind people all the time. So I feel like it's now the situation too is with streaming and you can kind of be your own DJ. You can discover people. The algorithm can show you people based on who you listen to.
Yeah.
Um, it's never been easier to find artists. It's how do you stick out though beyond just being the music? How do you get to know the artist personally or, see what they look like or follow their videos? And I think that's where having a label deal comes in is that we all know who Megan Maroney is. We all know who Ella Langley is,
Mm.
Lainey Wilson, because they are females that they got behind and really broke, and we're seeing their faces everywhere. They're
Hmm.
spending dollars on marketing and they're spending money on videos. And that's the difference because there are artists who are doing great on streaming completely independent.
Hmm.
But you don't see them as much. There's not that saturation in the marketplace.
As somebody who owns a marketing firm, I can totally attest to what you're saying. There are so many things and so much activity that people have to be able to get noticed nowadays. And I was going to ask you whether or not you thought that was a positive thing for people to be able to get noticed and build a career, or if you think it's harder. And so it sounds like you think that creates some additional challenges for folks.
I think it's harder. I definitely do. I mean, I've seen younger artists, mid-20 artists, maybe 29, something like that. Some of the girls that I know who are always filming and they're having to get up and do hair and makeup as if it's their job and go out and film and get
Yeah.
content and go to every single opening of everything to be seen places, to be here, to be there. It's almost like you have to have both sides of your brain working all the time.
Hmm.
And for me, like, when I was writing for my album or writing for other people or whatever, I had so much space to create, but not consciously create in the moment. Work on a
Hmm.
song instead of like, let's block this. Oh, get me over here. Oh, and then get the lighting, get the ring light. I mean, it's insane.
That takes a skill set too that I think if someone's great at singing, to also be able to be good at the marketing and digital side of things, and particularly if you don't have a budget to be able to do it yourself, that's a skill set that not everybody has too. So it creates a challenge that way to have the resources and the knowledge to be able to put yourself out there that way. And that's an additional challenge that folks face today when they're starting a career. So as you've gone through those steps, do you continue to try to evolve with that, or do you have a pretty good routine of how your marketing and your approach to the modern methodologies do it? Do you continue to evolve that?
So I try to do a little bit of that, but it's not 24/7. I know a lot of the celebrities do content days, and that's the thing. It's like if they have a deal, a record deal, then they have label that's helping them with a social media company who's helping them film or, getting hair and makeup or that kind of thing. So I don't do that. I just kind of do it in the moment. If I feel
Hmm.
like, hey, this is cool, maybe someone wants to see us driving in the van or going to the airport or that kind of thing. I just kind of, slap something together. So,
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
we normally have 2, 3 dogs. We had 4 at one time. It was a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibilities. I saw an interview that you did where you had your dog with you on one of them. So yeah, yeah. No, I got one old dog that's like 15 years old, who's awesome, and that's my buddy.
Yeah, I was singing vocals yesterday. He goes into the vocal booth, he lays at my feet. It's just they're just, your sweet little companions that you get, you know, that make such a
Yeah,
difference in your lives. I can't imagine not having a dog.
for sure. Especially as the kids kind of get more independent too. You mentioned earlier your daughter, wanting to be with friends and all that, and I got a 12-year-old, so we're really at that point where I think she's preferring to be with friends a little bit more than historically being, around us. But that's that age where that happens. But I think they eventually come back around.
Totally. And my daughter and I talk like 10 times a day. I mean, and I talk to my dad multiple times a day too. So I think, yeah, even though they like their own independence or they like being with their friends, or especially at age 12 all the way up to probably 18 or
Hmm.
19, the friends are the first priority. But it was hard. She went to University of Miami for a whole year, her
Hmm.
freshman year in college, and that was like the hardest thing that we've ever had to go through, her living
Yeah.
away like that.
Well, and that's a totally different world than, are you in Nashville? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally different world down in Miami. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely fast paced.
yeah, for sure. Well, hey, I wanted to ask you too. Are there any particular artists that you listen to these days that you find to be inspiring to you and where you're at in your musical journey?
I mean, I think Lainey is amazing. I really do. When she came out, I thought this is I felt like she was going to help, if you know what I mean, bring back a country sound that we had missed for a long time.
Hmm. Agree.
And and even to that point, it's almost like the Western feel, you know what I mean? Which I think Yellowstone had a lot to do with too.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I feel like the world has embraced having that back, the Western thing, cowboys, wearing, because there were so many artists that I would they would reach out to me, and I would, listen to them, and I'd write with them or whatever. And we'd start to write a song and they'd say, oh, that's too country. And I said, there's no such thing. I mean, like, why are these people here trying to have a country career, but yet wanting to do all the pop sounding stuff and, the pop sensibilities? Oh, they'd say, well, we don't need a bridge. And I'd say, well, I feel like the bridge is one of the most important parts of a song. I love a good bridge.
Hmm.
And so some of the ways that people were taught that because they listen to pop music to disregard some of the country sensibilities, I wasn't on board with. So I'd be like, I really don't, I'm not into this, so I'm not going to do it because it's not feeding my soul when I try to write songs like that aren't me. Even though there's some
Hmm.
pop music I love, but I just missed hearing that country sound on the radio or people saying, no, you can't use fiddle or steel. What?
And I think you hit the nail on the head that there's a renaissance of that sound. And I feel like the younger generation, like the new artists that are coming out now, I hear that quite a bit. It's really cool to see that come back because there was definitely a time where that wasn't quite as prevalent, but you're seeing it, and Laney's a great example of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
I've seen that you've done some pretty incredible collaborations during your career, including legends like Carrie Underwood. If you could work with any artist that you have not worked with before, who would it be?
So hard to pick one person. I mean, in 2020 when I did my duets, I got to sing with Martina. That was a huge Martina and Sarah Evans and Lauren Elena. And then John Paul White from the Civil Wars, who has one of my favorite voices. I mean, I'm a huge Civil Wars fan. I
Mm.
also love Thelma and James. I don't know if you've heard them, but they are incredible, husband and wife duo. And they remind me a little bit of the Civil Wars. So many different artists. I can't even just pick one. There's so many.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
So, hey, before we wrap up today, I did want to talk about you're here in town and you're going to be here Friday for 4th of July. And can you tell our viewers of where they can see you perform and some of the details?
Oh, I would need to pull that up. It's one of the parks. It's in Lynn Haven, Florida, and it's Let Freedom Ring concert.
Well, I know our town's very
And I'm
excited to have
excited.
you. Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure performing on 4th of July has to have special significance to you. I know there's so many songs that you've done that appreciate our country and what we do. So I'm sure that's got to be meaningful for you as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna have some patriotic songs in there, and um, it's the feeling on July 4th. And I don't think I've played a July 4th show in a couple of years, and I've really missed it because it's the best feeling of celebration and you know patriotism and just being able to celebrate America, and the fireworks and everything. It just makes it super exciting. So I'm glad that I
Yeah.
finally got booked for one and
Or
in a beautiful place.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you. So I know it's going to be a great event. So hopefully everybody can come out and enjoy your music and enjoy a night of celebrating the country.
Please do. Can't
Yep.
wait.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk about your incredible career and what you continue to do. And we look forward to the new album that comes out and all the new songs that'll be releasing. So
Oh, thank you so much. I can't wait for you to hear it.
awesome. Well, hope you have a wonderful day. And everybody, thank you for joining us on the Road to Rich podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.